The world is going through a very unprecedented time at the moment with the corona crisis and its impact on the economy, on the social aspects, almost every aspect of our life. It is also impacting the inner peace and well-being almost of every person on this planet. As such, and parallel to the launch of my book, Peace In, I made a commitment to interview well-known figures and individuals who have been through turmoils in their life and different experiences in their life, with the intention that we can learn some tips from their experiences that we can apply on our own life to bring hopefully inner peace. My next interview is with Her Majesty Queen Farah Pahlavi, the wife of the late Shah of Iran, who has been through a very interesting journey that had a lot of ups and downs. But I've known this person for some time, and I was always fascinated from the amount of calmness and peacefulness that she has and she spread around herself. I learned a lot from this interview. I came out with a few tips that I will apply in my own life. I hope that you will enjoy it, and I look forward to see you with more interviews in the near future. Thank you. Your Majesty Farah Pahlavi, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Your Majesty, I had the honor of knowing you for some time, and every time I meet you, I get fascinated by the amount of peace that you have inside you and the smile that you always keep in your face, despite the major turmoils that you have been through in your life. I would like to learn a little bit more from that today, with the intention hopefully that the people who will be seeing or listening to this recording will get inspired from your experience. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions related to 3 different periods in your life. So the first question is, in December 1959, Farah Diba, the young girl who was still studying at university in France, suddenly found herself married to the Shah of Iran and became the queen of one of the most civilized nations in the world, but also became the center of attention to the world media. Everything was new to you. And for many people, this position could be scary, could be confusing, could cause a lot of anxiety. I guess my question is how a young girl could deal with all of that so adequately the way you did. What was the secret to keep yourself grounded and in control during that time?
Well, thank you very much for your very kind words. And I really hope that I deserve what you said. What can I say? Going back so many years ago, I always remember when we were students, we were always saying that in Iran, many of us, that we will study and to come back to serve our country.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, my life took a different, not a different direction, but as you said, very special direction. Of course, we were always, the family and ourselves, very much in favor of His Majesty and monarchies, and we always admired him and what he was doing. And I remember the first time I saw him in Paris when I came to study at the university. The ambassador had invited many students to the show was in Paris. And I met him for the first time from close there. And I was, of course, very excited and very proud. And then I always remember that I wrote to my mother, I was so happy to see His Majesty from close. He had beautiful eyes, but sad eyes. Anyway, then the history changed and we got married. And I was in love with him, and he was so kind. He was such a gentleman. And I always wanted to serve my country, and I cannot compare, but I was a Girl Scout, the captain of a Girl Scout, and we had to do always a good deed every day, a good action. Anyway, the first 1 or 2 years I was invited to go to open hospitals and nurseries and schools, and I wanted to serve really my country. It was my home. And with the help of many Iranians, ladies and gentlemen, who came to me and spoke about different problems, we started different organizations. I got very, very busy in many fields, of course, with the support of His Majesty and also the government. The government was doing his duty. So, as I said, these people came to me, and then I was busy in many, many organizations. We created non-government organization, which I was the president, for orphans, for sick people, for those who cannot see, those who cannot hear, those who have mental problems, and for Cancer Society, for the Lepers Society, of course, which was very special in the world, and also in Iran. I went to visit the centers and hospitals for burn injuries, so many activities in sport, in environment, in also in culture, building museums, creating festival of art, because I always admired the culture and the art of our country, and for centuries, as you know, we have been a country with a lot of great civilization, and we have given so much to the world. So all that kept me busy. And one thing is that I was doing my work, and that gave me a lot of courage. Of course, there were some maybe difficulties, problems, but my character was in a way that I didn't pay attention to some things. And I always remember I asked His Majesty a few years after we got married, how come among all the young ladies they were introducing to you, you chose me? He said, because I liked your simplicity and natural. So,
Your Majesty,
I received so many sympathy and affection from my compatriots, because I also traveled a lot around Iran, because I didn't want to just sit in the capital and see what people tell me. And I visited many parts of Iran in the villages to see what people have to say, what are the problems, and to report to His Majesty the right thing. So that's the way it went.
Yeah, I love what you said, and I don't want to seem that I'm putting words in your mouth, but as you shared what you shared, 3 things stood out for me. You said, I loved His Majesty. So love was one of your motivations. And then you said, serving my country. So serving seems to be, to me at least, the second one. And then the third recipe, simplicity. Those are the 3 words that I heard in what you said. It seems when someone is coming from love and serving and keep it simple, that would help us to keep going. That's what I took from what you said. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, but it's true, it's good.
Yeah. Your Majesty, my second question is, as you did everything you just explained, and all those projects, charities, education, culture, I've seen a lot of videos for you. I read your book, your biography, and often people used to approach you with their problems. People used to come to you seeking help. I remember even seeing videos of you walking outside of your palace in Tehran, and people waiting in the street to talk to you or ask for things. Sometimes I'm making an assumption those could be impactful stories, people sharing some problems or whatever. How were you able to make the balance of being there, supporting them, but at the same time not letting that affecting you personally?
Not letting what? Excuse me?
Not letting those stories, in some cases I'm assuming that there were big stories, personal issues or whatever, people might be sick, or how were you able to help without letting those stories impacting you personally?
Well, I had an office with some people working in it, and were receiving really hundreds of letters to my office, and we were trying to do as much as we can to help them. And then when they were helped, that gave me a lot of courage and incentive. Like, for instance, now I hear things which makes me, it touches me very much after what happened. And then, I received a journalist, and he said, I thank you because my mother, her father was forcing her to marry someone, and she didn't want to. She wrote to you, and you wrote to the Ministry of, Law, and then they spoke to his father, and they said, you cannot force your daughter to marry this one, so that's why she married someone else, and then I am the boy. After all these stories. Or, for instance, that some famous painter wrote to me when the Crown Prince was born. We said he was a young man, and we sent you a congratulations. We came and we brought the letter to the palace, and you answered. All these little things or big things. Or, for instance, Iranian architect that is living now in Canada, she said to me, the first time I had colored pencil in my hand was when I went to the Center of Intellectual Development of Children and Young Adults. I forgot to say about the Children's Library. When I received the answer, it made me very happy that I could do something.
Sure.
Of course, we were a developing country and we had a lot to do, but I would do as much as I could, and there are many other stories which I don't remember. And I thank them now that tell me, because I don't remember all this.
Yeah. I guess my role, Your Majesty, with your permission today, I'm just taking some words from what you're saying, and they're inspiring me, and hopefully they will inspire others. From this answer that you said, it looks, the word that's standing out for me is making difference. Like when someone is able to serve and make difference in other people's life, that probably will keep them in peace.
To give love. To give care, to give life, and that's a fantastic opportunity to be able to do that in your life.
True. Your Majesty, my last question. This is now to do with the area post-January 1979. This is the time when you had to leave the country with your husband, His Majesty, and the life from that point is no longer the same as before. You found yourself in many situations dealing with big issues, even such as the death of your husband, lack of support, being responsible for your kids, not knowing which country to go to, media pressure, and I think the list can go on and on. But with all of that, you always maintained your calmness, your peacefulness, and the smile on your face. How could you achieve that? What is the secret that kept you in your inner peace even during this very difficult time?
Well, you know, the most important thing was that I knew who my husband was, what he did, and I knew who I was. So it's true that it was terrible in every sense. From many of my compatriots, other people who were supposedly to be our friends, and the way they behaved to us and the things they were saying about us in the press, in the journal, I had to really keep my spirit for my husband first, who was sick, and you know, a man who has done so much for his country to suffer all these things for him, for my children, and for many compatriots who were living up to us. And of course, I was getting busy. I mean, I must say here that I'm grateful to King Hassan, the late King Hassan of Morocco, who received that, and especially my children, myself, and many Iranians were forever grateful to President Sadat and Mrs. Sadat, to Egyptian people and Egyptian government, the way they received us. They became really, not being a strong country in the world, an example of human example among leaders. And you know, I of course I think of the past, but I want to think of the present and the future. And when after my husband passed away, in a way I said I wish he was alive, but at the same time he was not here to see what happened to his country and his people for what he has done to them. And I got busy with many activities, and above all, I think I had this duty as a human being to be grateful for whatever I have, and I have to be grateful, I mean, duty towards my children or my grandchildren and towards my compatriots. I don't forget that. And that, although it was a lot of pressure, but it kept me going. And beside that, I must say that I hope I don't forget, because don't forget my age.
You look great for your age.
You know, find ways to help you, and sports helped me a lot. You know, beautiful. I did sport. I forced myself to play tennis. I like tennis, and also later on meditation, to do yoga, and all that helped. And also, I must say, I was listening to many CDs that people made, you know, how to keep going on, how to keep, all that helped me. And especially, I don't want to keep bitterness in me, because that will destroy me, not my enemy.
Very true. Very true.
I think
very true.
That
you've given me great idea, Your Majesty. From this last question, what I took away from you is to help us to be in inner peace and stay grounded. You told me when you said about I know myself and I know who my husband is. It's like what I took away from that: stick to your values, know what's your values and stick for them. But also another tip I took is when you talk about those leaders who have stood next to you, it looks like this is a time where we connect with friends. It's friendship.
Yeah.
But also you said kept yourself busy, and that helped you to deal with the situation. And then gratitude, being grateful to what we have, that's another way. And the last tip that you gave me here is doing sports, being yoga, meditation, or other kind of sports that also keep us somehow in peace with ourselves. Your Majesty.
Yes, what did I want to add is, really when you compare that you have a bed to sleep, you have food to eat, you have friends, and if you compare yourself to millions of people in the world with all their problems, you have to be grateful for what you have.
Absolutely.
And then another thing I want to say, I always thought, as I told you, that sport helped me a lot. There are all these organizations that Medicine Without Frontier, Journalists Without Frontier. I always hope that somebody will make sport without frontier, because there are people admire so much the sportive people, especially in football, and then all these countries which are underdeveloped, and young people do not have anything to do. They are in the streets and people take them to negative things and drugs and so on to have little football fields and things so that young people in the developed countries can have sport. So this has nothing to do with my work, but this is one of the ideas. And then really I told and help friends also help me, and I tell myself I have kept going on so far, and especially now that after what happened and what they are saying under the regime in Iran, people are so kind that they realize, even especially young people have been born after 79, and they say, for His Majesty, may God bless his soul. And then when they see me, they kiss me, they hug me, they send me so many kind emails, and I talk to them. All that helps me a lot. And then as a human being, I say I will try to do that as long as I can. And one day I won't be able to, so be it. I mean, we are not eternal.
May God continue to give you good health and take care of you, Your Majesty, to continue to inspire. I have a lot of stories. Time cannot allow us here, but I know how I've seen in my eyes how much you have helped people reach out to you just to hear your voice, to feel better. And I've seen you even calling those people and trying to inspire them and help them to lift up their morale. Those are stories no one told me. I've seen in my eyes. May you continue to be blessed with your health to do that.
Thank you. I want to say that, when you do a positive thing, it never disappears.
That's true.
When you see, for instance, in one of my interviews, I said, all these young people who were orphans, I don't know what happened to them. And few of them wrote to me, they are in foreign governments, Iranian orphans.
Yeah.
Or, for instance, a doctor went to the lepers center in Khorasan, in Mashhad, and then one of them said, if you see that lady, of course he didn't say my name, give her our love and affection for what she did for us. All that is a big gift.
Of course.
And a source of energy.
Of course.
So whatever good deed you do,
it will come
never
back.
disappears.
Absolutely.
It helps. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Your Majesty. I'm so grateful for your time, and hopefully you will continue, as I said, to inspire us and inspire many people. I look up to you, and I pray that you will always be in good health, and hopefully I will get to see you soon.
Thank you so much.